Our goal has been to create the greatest Pokémon experience yet. We're challenging ourselves to try new things, while still treasuring what makes Pokémon special.
We will get our Pokémon back!
Who will save the Pokémon? Gotta save them. Gotta save them all.
So, Pokemon's been quite the topic as of late.
Fandoms is on fire!
And with Game Freak making probably one of the worst mistakes of all time, let's talk about conspiracy theories. But before we begin, I think it's important that we understand that just yelling that the developers are being lazy, or that just throwing more people at the problem isn't going to fix the ultimate issues of the series. You see, spamming a hashtag isn't going to help either. Mainly because slacktivism is a method that rarely has any actual merit to it, and it rarely works, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of Japanese companies don't really care to listen to Western complaints. Then again, considering that the Japanese channel for the latest trailer of Pokemon has the likes and dislikes and comments hidden, I suppose that should tell you enough about the situation. But what if I told you that we've seen this happen before? And in Pokemon, no less. But before we talk about that, let's talk about Coca-Cola! I know what you're thinking.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But I also know that you're thinking about why I'm bringing up Coca-Cola in a video about Pokemon. Well, boys and girls, let me tell you the tale of New Coke and Classic Coke. The 1980s, a time where Take On Me was one of the hottest music videos around, and Optimus Prime had the touch. I mean, those are probably the most important things from that era of time. I can't think of anything else that happened apparently that's noteworthy, except for Coca-Cola. In the summer of 1985, the world's greatest tragedy happened. Coca-Cola was in trouble. You see, for 15 years, the product had been slipping. In fact, many colas of the time were struggling. Consumer preference and awareness for Coke was dipping dangerously low. And that was before the introduction of Pepsi Man, too.
Pepsi Man!
That's when Coca-Cola had an idea. They would change the secret formula.
Finally, victory is mine. I win! I win! I win!
This resulted in something that no one could have predicted. There was backlash. When new Coke was introduced, Coca-Cola didn't take into consideration the bond that consumers had with the original Coca-Cola. You had pundits attacking the company for making the marketing blunder of the century. People were hoarding Coke, and protests were instigated by the thousands. All for the love of a soda. For Coca-Cola! It was recorded that by June 1985, the Coca-Cola Company was getting over 1,500 calls a day, in comparison to 400 before the tampering of the secret formula. People held any employee from Coca-Cola personally responsible for these changes. There were even protest groups like the Society for the Preservation of the Real Thing and Old Cola Drinkers of America, or better known as just rolls off the tongue. They weren't alone. Multiple protest groups appeared all over the country. Songs were being made to honor the classic taste. And said protesters took to the streets in Atlanta, all to fight against the tyrannical changes that Coca-Cola instilled in their product. And then the news broke. Coca-Cola Classic was announced and released to the public. To put it simply, new Coca-Cola was changed to Coca-Cola 2, and now the product is no longer available in the US. And now, we have a similar situation with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Let's count it off, shall we? Pokemon changing the formula of the game, meaning now you can no longer transfer every Pokemon to the new game, not taking into account the love that people have for the classic Pokemon. Protests are being held out. Bring back the National Dex is a thing, people! And you've got those same people spamming the hashtag to every post that all Pokemon-related Twitters have. Memes have been created in response to this decision. There are several factors that these two events share. So, what should we expect? We should be expecting Pokemon to, sometime in the future, listen to the complaints being voiced, probably with a future Nintendo Switch title, making the change that everyone wanted. Because of this, Pokemon has become a center of gaming controversy. People who don't normally talk about the games are talking about the news about the decision. More and more attention being drawn to the protests are ringing out incredibly fast. The result of Coca-Cola Classic. The result of new Coca-Cola brought what may have costed Coca-Cola a ton of money, but new Coke was still a success. Why? Because it revitalized the brand and reattached the public to Coca-Cola. And the same can happen with Pokemon. Nah, I'm willing to bet that it will happen, because we've seen this happen before on a smaller scale for Pokemon. You see, back in Generation 5, Pokemon was met with a great amount of criticism, mainly because you couldn't catch any of the older generation Pokemon during the main campaign of the games. And people of this franchise didn't like that. They hated it. They loathed it. And Game Freak listened to the wrong people. They made 2 sequel titles, which included the original roster. And after that, they kept on appealing to that sensibility of wanting to have more of the original generation. After all, in Generation 6 and 7, there was quite a bit of focus on Generation 1, appealing to the nostalgia of the fans. And it's the same with Pokemon Let's Go. Several features of the classic games, abilities, most of the roster, changing the wild Pokemon battling mechanics. Those were completely changing the formula. And now they're back in the latest games that have been announced. Who knows what the backlash for these 2 games will be like when they come out. As the countless Lily models popping up in every area in Pokemon Sun and Moon would like to attest, Game Freak has been a little bit on the decline when it comes to Pokemon games. And with the yearly releases, well, look, we all know the meme involving a certain other gaming franchise.
It's time for a hat attack. Hat, return to me.
And how they're garbage! And how COD was mocked endlessly for being a series that was updated every year with only the bare minimum amount of effort and changed unto each subsequent addition to said series. Who knows what could happen? I can easily see this being the case for future Pokemon games. However, like Donald Cano, the president of Coca-Cola, said in response to the speculation about this conspiracy theory, "We're not that dumb, and we're not that smart. Think about it." Hey guys, if you're watching this, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you didn't take this too seriously. Seeing all the conspiracy videos about Pokemon Sword and Shield, I thought I'd get on this, but hey, if you liked the video, let me know in the comments down below. I'm MangaKamen, and thanks for watching, and remember to examine your fandom. Bye!